Hi guys, Elizabeth here, coming at you with my Pan Set Palette 2015. I'm going to use the Ulta 48 palette that came in the December 2013, not 2014, but 2013 gift set. It had blushes and lipsticks and eyeliners and lip glosses and many things. But it had this 48 pan shadow, and as you can see, I've had it for a year and I haven't really given it justice. So this is what I'm going to focus on. I am going to use some of my singles and triples also, either to augment it or every now and then use those looks, because I don't want, you know, all that makeup getting old. But mainly I'm going to focus on this. This is really cool because it has columns of makeup that go together, like kind of the gray neutrals, the pinks, blues, purples, like silvers and blacks, kind of the lighter brown neutrals, greens, and darker brown neutrals. So what I thought I'd focus on first is trying all these shades. As you can see, I haven't used it nearly enough this year. So I want to use shades in a column with each other, at least once. And I usually use like 3 shades at a time, sometimes 4, sometimes 1, but I want to use them at least once with other shades in the column, and then the shadow at least once with other shades across the palette, so I can really get a good feel on whether I like it, whether it goes good with my skin tone. One thing I really like about this palette is there are matte shades, there are shimmer shades, and there are sparkly shades. And it's not always like the top or the lightest, they aren't all matte. Some, like this will be matte, this will be shimmer, this will be shimmer, this will be, so it's a good mix of the different tones on whether they are shimmer, matte, or sparkle. One thing I will say, if you use Ulta shadows, these are the only ones I've ever tried, so it's true for this palette, you must use an eye primer or the shadows do not show and do not have staying power. If you use an eye primer, you get fine, the payoff's fine, the staying power is fine. If you use them on their own, you will not be happy with them. So that's the palette I'm going to use. If you want to stay on, I'll do a little more palette talk. At the end of the year, whatever I have left on this, I think I'm just going to, the shadows will be 2 years old. I think I'll probably get a different palette and then use that other palette for like 2 more years. What I've decided is, since I'm so fickle, because when people show like the Bon Jovi palette, I want that. Some Too Faced, country palette, I want that. The chocolate bar palette, I want that. The Naked 3 palette, I want that. Every time someone shows a palette, there's an Amorisi palette, it's like, I want that. Every time somebody shows a palette, it's like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. I'd have like 50 palettes in my collection. And basically, I really only need to work on one palette at a time. So I thought, what I will do, instead of impulse buying all these palettes that look fantastic, I will decide what I want in a palette and then see what matches up. So right now, if I had to go out and buy another palette, I would want one that only has like 20 or 30 shades. I know it seems crazy. You'd think like if you had one palette with like 88 shades or whatever, that's what you would use. But when I watch a lot of people's declutter videos, it's the ones with the most shades. Their palettes tend to get used less and are decluttered first. And I know with this 48 shades, it's a little daunting, when you're looking at it. You'd think the more the better, give me 100 shades, give me in a palette. But I think I want to keep the palette down to like 20 or 30 shades. I want to have a lot of neutrals, so I can do a lot of different neutral looks. I want an emerald green. I know a lot of palettes have like a olive green or a hunter green, but I'd like something close to an emerald green. I'd like a medium blue, and maybe if there's another, lighter blue or something, so, you can transition. I want pinks. I want burgundy. I want plum. Black is not like a necessity. I don't usually use a lot of black or smoky eye because something with my face shape and stuff, even though it's smoky up here, it makes me look like I have dark circles down to like the middle of my cheeks when I do a smoky eye. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not doing, I might be doing it wrong, but like whenever it smokes up here, I look like I have dark bags in the middle of my cheeks. So I don't have to have a black in the palette, but if I do, sometimes I do use black uh, shadow as a liner. So, it's okay. And a not have to, but would be nice, kind of like either a gold or a bronze or something along that line. So with that in mind, I've been looking at the different palettes. And if I had to replace it today, which who knows what's going to happen by December 2015, I would go with the Urban Decay Vice 3 because I think that would work. But that's what I want to do. I want to decide what I want a palette and be proactive instead of, let's face it, I love beauty. I love sparkly, everything I see I want. So that's my plan for the future. And this is the palette. As soon as I have something to show for it, since I'm using all 48 for the first couple months, there probably won't be much of a dip in anything. I will film an update. And thanks, guys, and I will talk with you later.